गणरघुनाथानुतां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीशाखान्वितांश्च ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी देश तारिणे नमः विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मे श्री श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदांत नारायण नामिने नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती नामिने श्री वार्षभानवी देवी दयिताय कृपाब्धे कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान दायिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्वल प्रेमाद्य श्री मानुक भक्ति श्री गौर करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमस्ते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्ते दिनतारिणे रूपानुगविरुद्धापप सिद्धांत त्वांतहारिणे पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेमप्रदाय ते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतिसे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते भक्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी शवानुसुत देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिय जानकी जानकी। One minute, I just have to transfer the plate. नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतिसे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिय जयतां सुरतो पंगुर्मम मंदमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्य पदाम्भोजौ शिशिराधा मदन दिव्या वृंदारण्य कल्पद्रुमद श्रीमद रत्नांगर सिंहासनस्थौ शिशिराधा शिव गोविंद देव प्रेष्ठालि सेव्यमानौ स्मरामि श्रीमन्रासरसारम् एवं शिव ततस्थितः कर्षन् वेणुस्नायकोऽपि गोपीनाथ श्रीस्व वृंदाय तुलसीदेवाय केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवत्ताय नमो नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्ति शक्तिकं जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Narayanam Namaskritya
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
Tato Jayamudhirayet.
ततो जयमुदीरये।
Translation: before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Sri Vyasadeva, the author. Srimvatam Swakata Krishna Bolo.
शृणुता सततं कृष्ण
Punya Shravana Kirtana.
पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनं
Vidyantasto hi abhadrani.
ततोऽन्तस्तुभद्राणि
Vidunoti surat satam.
विदुनोति सुदृशताम्।
Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
नित्यं भागवतसेवया
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठकी
By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, whose praise with transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. So now we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, chapter 2, text 9. So we'll read the previous verse one time. Tasya tyakta swabhavasya घृणेर्माया वनौकसा भजन्तं भजमानस्य बालस्येवास्ति प्रात्मनः मत्शूलभिन्नग्रीवस्य भूरि न रुद्रे रुधिरेण वै अस्रक् प्रियं तर्पयिष्ये भ्रातरं मे गतव्यतः. Translation of this verse by Srila Prabhupada and purport also, but we'll read the translation only. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has given up his natural tendency of equality toward the demons and the demigods. Although he is the Supreme Person, now influenced by Maya, he has assumed the form of a boar to please his devotees, the demigods. Just as a restless child leans towards someone, I shall therefore sever Lord Vishnu's head from his trunk by my trident, and with the profuse blood of his body, I shall please my brother Hiranyaksha, who was fond of sucking blood. Thus shall I too be peaceful. Heavy statements. So text 9, today's verse. Tasmin kute ahite naste. Repeat after me. Tasmin
तस्मिन्
kute
उते
ahite
अहिते
naste
नस्ते
kritamule
सुतमूले
vanaspatau
वनस्पतौ
vitapa
वितपा
iva
इव
शुष्यन्ति
तुष्यन्ति
Vishnu prana
विष्णुप्राणा
divokashaha.
दिवौकसः.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. When the root of the tree is cut and the tree falls down, its branches and twigs automatically dry up. Similarly, when I have killed this diplomatic Vishnu, the demigods from whom Lord Vishnu is the life, for whom Lord Vishnu is the life and soul, will lose the source of the life, wither away. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The difference between the demigods and the demons is here explained. The demigods always follow the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the demons simply plan to disturb or kill him. Nevertheless, sometimes the demons very much appreciate the full dependence of the demigods upon the mercy of the Lord. This is indirect glorification of the demigods by the demons. So this whole chapter, which Hiranyakashipu is speaking, especially when the demons are killed, and especially in this case, one of the two brothers, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyaksha, I understand, was the younger brother, was killed by Varahadev, for he threw the planet Earth into the Garbhadhak ocean. So therefore, it was out of the, what is it called, orbit. And then Krishna has to take incarnation as Varaha Dev, because Varaha, the pig incarnation, the boar incarnation, it eats, it takes things with those tusks. So he went deep inside and he took the earth planet and reinstated back.
बाहेर काढून ठेवलं.
What is it?
Sorry.
Okay. So we can see the Lord can do amazing things. He can put the planets onto orbit from in any condition if it is there. Like in this case, it was in Garbhodak ocean. We cannot imagine doing anything like this because the Lord can do things like this. Therefore, the demigods, they always take shelter of the Lord because he can do inconceivable pastimes or activities which will maintain the balance of the whole universe. Like Vaman Dev, today morning I was reading in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vaman Dev, with the three he covered the whole universe. And that was his potency by which he could maintain the whole material creation. Whereas in Vaikuntha, the inhabitants or the Vaikuntha is maintained by the opulence of the Lord. And in Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna is maintaining by conjugal love. These three personalities are mentioned. How the material world is maintained, how the Vaikuntha planets are maintained, and how the Goloka Vrindavan is maintained. Goloka Vrindavan is maintained simply by conjugal love. It's a very important thing to understand. Conjugal love. Now, conjugal love is not only one aspect of life, but many aspects of life. For example, Radharani is the Halladani Shakti's expansion. And from Radharani comes all the other inhabitants, especially the personal associates of the Lord. They come, all the gopis come from them, from her. And even the parents are expansion of Radharani, Nanda Baba and Yashoda, and including the main Sakhas. So the whole thing is based on love of Krishna, prema. There are 9 in a sadhana bhakti. There's only one system, one element, one main process. That is the process of regulative principles. But in prema bhakti, there are 9 aspects: prema, mana, raga, anuraga. Like that, there are a whole bunch of them. I have many times I forget that. I should have brought my book. So you can see that the prema has a special feature of controlling the Lord. Whereas in Vaikuntha, the Lord is not controlled. And what to speak of in the material world, nobody can control the Lord. So for prema is the supreme position, especially in conjugal love, which pleases the Lord himself. Even in the material world, just imagine a population without any woman. The men will be lying down, lazing out all day. They don't know what to do. But if they are women, the Nari Shakti keeps them going very enthusiastically in life. They'll work very hard, make money, build a house, this, that, so many things. So even in the material world, even though the material world is a reflection, perverted reflection of the spiritual world, but the principles hold the same. The material world, everything is controlled by women. They don't have to be equal. They don't worry about being equal. By their very presence, they control them. They're so powerful. So what to speak of Krishna and his eternal associates? They are all there to control Krishna because of love only pure love. Pure love is the basic principle. Even in the material world, that's supposed to happen like that if they follow Vedic culture. But because nowadays nobody follows Vedic culture, the woman and men, they think they're equal, then they divorce, then they have so many partners here and there, everywhere. You know, before marriage, everything happens. So many boyfriends and girlfriends. So there is no, they are simply controlled by their uncontrolled mind and senses. That's all it is. There is no more a relationship factor that doesn't even exist, because everybody is controlled by the mind and the senses. But actually, we have to be controlled by the Supreme Lord. We have to give ourselves for His pleasure. Like in a marriage, the wife gets a bindi and the little sindoor. Now I've heard the sindoor, putting the sindoor means a sense of belonging will come in the wife's consciousness, the wife's mind. I belong to this man. Similarly, in devotion service, when our relationship with Guru is established, who is bona fide, who is very highly advanced, self-realized, pure devotee of the Lord, then the sense of belonging to Guru and Krishna comes in our life. If this sense of belonging doesn't come in the heart, then the mamata will never arise in our heart. Possessiveness towards Krishna. Krishna, you are mine. Radharani has that special feature. That is the difference between Radharani's love and Chandravali's love. Chandravali says, Krishna, I am yours. And Radharani says, no, you are mine. Mamata. Therefore, Chandravali cannot control Krishna like Radharani does. And Chandravali gets the position later on by becoming Rukmani. Because Rukmani is very submissive to Krishna. Radharani could never become one of the queens, even though Satyabhama is supposed to be an expansion. But she is not on the number one category. She is the number two category. So all these things are there because ultimately we have to be controlled. Our mind and senses have to be controlled, not by our own endeavor, but by Chit Bala, the spiritual strength that Krishna has given to all the living entities in the spiritual world, and they are controlled by this Bala. They remain fixed in devotion service by this Chit Bala. Similarly, in the material world also, by the mercy of Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas, when we get this Chit Bala, then we'll become fixed in devotion service. And this is the only way to become connected to Krishna, to remain fixed in devotion service. Otherwise, Maya is always there wagging her tail, and very soon we'll become all bewildered, and butter and fire example comes into play, and the man will just melt. The woman is like a fire with a blazing fire, and everything is finished. That's why material world people are not happy, because the main point, the center point, Krishna is missing. And when we dovetail all our energies, everything in Krishna's service and Krishna's pleasure, then every person is important in our life, especially in the household life. A wife is important, children are important, everything gives the impetus for the man to take up the responsibility of not only just maintaining the Lord, but maintaining the devotional service to the Lord also. Very important to understand. But if there is trouble in the household life, then one is disturbed in mind and everything, and then it's very difficult for them to perform devotional service very peacefully. Therefore, here Hiranyakashipu, he is determined to kill Vishnu, because if Vishnu is the root of everything, so if the Vishnu is killed, then automatically all the strength of the demigods is gone. And in the purport, the last two lines, nevertheless, sometimes the demons very much appreciate the full dependence of the demigods upon the mercy of the Lord. This is indirect glorification of demigods for the demons. But they know, the demons, at least in those days, they know that these demigods are only powerful because of Vishnu. And Vishnu is all powerful. He can come in any form he wants. He came just like a bear, what is it called? Varaha Rupa. Keshava Drita Varaha Rupa. And he came and killed Hiranyaksha. So Vishnu always has an upper hand over all the situations. Therefore, now the Hiranyakashipu is planned to kill Vishnu, so that the root is killed automatically, the demons, the demigods will perish. Just like we have a garden, we know sometimes by mistake or sometimes we pull off, we were just pulling off all the carrots which are out of season. And very soon all the plants withered away. Then we just took the carrots, that was it. So therefore, if Krishna is not there in our life, there is no enthusiasm and no purpose in life, why we should be doing what we are doing. There's no impetus. And generally, to keep the temporary impetus, they get the boys and girls married so that by the initial enthusiasm of honeymoon, they'll start working, taking some responsibility. When they have children, they will have more responsibility. But very soon, having husband, wife, children becomes a very laborious task for the living entities. And it becomes also very tiresome and cumbersome because it's not so easy to maintain family in this age of Kali. You have to make so much money to maintain yourself, and children are there, daughters are there, daughters need to get married, children. But like in the Western world, when they pass the high school, the children are already asked to go out of the house, or they themselves are waiting for the time to get out of the house. And when they're on their own, nobody knows their destiny. They'll find boyfriends, girlfriends, and they'll experiment with everything. But in a cultured Vedic culture, the parents take the responsibility of finding a proper boy, proper girl, so that the children can remain peacefully in their life. So let us read the next verse. Tavad yata. Repeat after me. Haribol. Are you all there?
Yes, Prabhuji. It was on mute.
Tavad yata.
Tavadyata
Bhuvam yuyam.
bhuvam yuyam
Brahma ksatra.
brahmakshatra
Sameditam.
sameditam
Sadayatvam.
sudayadvam
Sudayadvam. Tapo yajna.
tapo yagya
Swadhyaya.
swadhyaya
Vrata dhaninaha.
vratadaninaha.
Translation. While I am engaged in the business of killing Vishnu, go down to the planet Earth, which is flourishing due to Brahminical culture and a Kshatriya government. These people engage in austerity, sacrifice, Vedic study, regulative vows, charity, destroy all the people thus engaged. Like the modern leaders, they want to kill everything. Purport. Hiranyakasipu's main purpose was to disturb the demigods. He planned first to kill Lord Vishnu so that with Vishnu's death, the demigods would automatically weaken and die. Another of his plan was to disturb the residents of planet Earth. The peace and prosperity of the residents of Earth and all the other planets were maintained by the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvida Chaturvarnyam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasa. According to the three modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the four divisions of human society were created by me. On all the planets, there were different types of residents. But the Lord recommends, referring especially to the planet Earth, which is inhabited by human beings, that society be divided into four varnas: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Before the advent of Lord Krishna on this earth, it is understood that the earth was managed by the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. The duty of the Brahmanas is to cultivate Sama, peacefulness; Dhamma, self-control; Titikshva, tolerance; Satyam, truthfulness; Shaucham, cleanliness; and Arjamam, simplicity. And then to advise the Kshatriya kings how to rule the country or planet. Following the instructions of the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas would engage the populace in austerity, sacrifices, Vedic study, and adherence to the rules and regulations established by Vedic principles. They should also arrange for charity to be given to the Brahmanas and sannyasis and temples. This is the godly element of the Brahminical culture. People are inclined to offer yajna because unless sacrifices are offered, there will be insufficient rain, yajnat bhavanti parjanya, which will hamper agricultural activities, parjanyat anna sambhava. By introducing Brahminical culture, therefore, the Kshatriya government should engage people in performing yajna, studying the Vedas, and in giving charity. Thus, the people will receive their necessities for life very easily, and there will be no disturbance in society. In this regard, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ishtan bhogan hivo deva dasyante yajna bhavita tayar dattan apradayayibhyo jo bhunkte stena va saha. In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods being satisfied by the performance of yajna, sacrifice, supply all necessities to man. But he who enjoys these gifts without offering them to the demigod in return is certainly a thief. The demigods are authorized supplying agents who act on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. Therefore, they must be satisfied by the performance of prescribed yajna. In the Vedas, there are also different kinds of yajnas prescribed for different kinds of demigods, but all are ultimately offered to the Supreme Personality of God. For one who cannot understand what Supreme Personality of God is, sacrifice to the demigod is recommended. According to different material qualities of the persons concerned, different types of yajnas are recommended in the Vedas. Worship of different demigods also is on the same basis, namely according to different qualities. For example, the meat eaters are recommended to worship the goddess Kali, the ghastly form of the material nature. And before the goddess, the sacrifice of animals is recommended. But for those in the mode of goodness, the transcendental worship of Vishnu is recommended. Ultimately, all yajnas are meant for gradual promotion to the transcendental position. For ordinary man, at least 5 yajnas, known as Pancha Maha Yajna, are necessary. One should know, however, that all necessities of life that human society requires are supplied to the demigods, agents of the Lord. No one can manufacture anything. Consider, for example, all the eatables of human society. These eatables include grain, fruits, vegetables, milk, and sugar for persons in the mode of goodness. And also eatables for non-vegetarians such as meat, none of which can be manufactured by the men. Then again, take for example, heat, light, water, air, which are also necessities of life. None of them can be manufactured by human society. Without the Supreme Lord, there can be no profuse sunlight, moonlight, rainfall, or breeze, without which no one can live. Obviously, our life is dependent on supplies from the Lord. Even our manufacturing enterprises require so many raw materials like metal, sulfur, mercury, manganese, and so on, and so many essentials, all of which are supplied by the agents of the Lord. Thus, the purpose that we should make proper use of them to keep ourselves fit and healthy for the purpose of self-realization, leading to the ultimate goal of life, namely liberation from the material struggle for existence. This aim of life is attained by the performance of yajna. If you forget the purpose of human life and simply take supplies from the agents of the Lord for sense gratification and become more and more entangled in material existence, which is not the purpose of creation. Certainly, we become thieves, and therefore we are punished by the laws of material nature. A society of thieves can never be happy, but they have no aim in life. The gross materialists, thieves, have no ultimate goal of life. They are simply directed to sense gratification, nor do they have knowledge of how to perform yajnas. Lord Chaitanya, however, inaugurated the easiest performance of yajna, namely the Sankirtana yajna, which can be performed by anyone in the world who accepts the principles of Krishna consciousness. Hiranyakashipu planned to kill the inhabitants of earth so that the yajna would stop and the demigods being disturbed would die automatically. And Lord Vishnu, the Yajneshwara, was killed. These were the demoniac plans of Hiranyakashipu, who was expert in such activities. So this particular verse is talking very detailedly why we should offer yajna, sacrifice. Even in our ordinary material life also, we cannot enjoy, say, $10,000 per month if you are earning all the $10,000. You have to offer a certain portion of it as tax. This tax is like a yajna. If all the citizens pay the tax, the government can, ideally speaking, will take care of all the other necessities of life: transportation, electricity, telephone connection, so many things. But if nobody pays tax, just imagine, government will go bankrupt. They will tax by force, and so much they tax that the people become fed up of working on anywhere. They'll run to the forest. It is mentioned in the Bhagavatam. People will run to the forest, giving up their family life, everything. And the woman will be raped, and the unwanted children will produce, because people are not becoming responsible enough to pay the tax. Similarly, in a macro level, this is not the small planet, this planet, one country, it is done like this. Similarly, all the countries, they have a principle of taxation. But in the macro level, where we are completely dependent on the many factors of life, like the sunlight, the rain, the wind, all these things which is mentioned here, all the essentials, raw materials, sulfur, mercury, manganese, and all these things. This cannot be produced by us. It is produced by Mother Earth. And all the jewels are produced when moonshine falls on the ocean. And all sort of jewels get produced by that. It's a very intricate system of balance, how one should accept the dependence of the material world and then take care of this world. But you cannot take care if you're not a devotee of the Lord. If you're a demon, if one is a demoniac, then he will just exploit material nature. Just like people go to Harvard, Stanford, and all these so-called Yale University, what are they learning actually? If you seriously go deep into that, they are simply learning what is beneficial for their country and how to exploit the other countries profusely. They will go as if to help these countries, but actually their business is what benefits them. China took advantage of that. When all these big companies produced things that China made so much money, they became practically capitalists. And the Americans, all these countries became dependent on China. And China started dictating terms that they should do this way, that way. And they were trying to control other. So we see that these demons, because they are asuras, and the so-called capitalists, they are also asuras, they constantly fight with each other to gain dominance over the other part and make them their slaves. That's all their purposes. Not to work together, but working together will only come when one is a devotee of the Lord, because we are dependent, as devotees, we accept, we are dependent on so many factors. Food, grains, milk, all these are produced by nature, not by us. We cannot produce milk in the factory. You can imagine what it becomes, what will come out of the factory. A white color oil or something like that. So we have to take care of the animals. We have to grow enough grass. We have to grow grains. All this, everything is interconnected for the ultimate benefit of the human society, whose main business is to advance in self-realization, as Prabhupada said. In understanding who we are. And then only we cannot, then only we can depend on, we can live peacefully. Otherwise, we will not be able to live peacefully. We will have to struggle in this world, like the modern day situation. You see now, just recently, few days back, in Dubai, suddenly there was so much rain that it became floods. Normally, what the rain they got it is what they get it for the whole year. That all happened in one day. Nature will not cooperate with us. Suddenly, the trees are falling apart, everything is falling apart, cars are floating in the river, and storm is coming. They have all these high skyscrapers, people are all closing all the windows and staying there. And sometimes something falls on the windows of these big skyscraper apartments and they break, and suddenly just imagine wind and strong winds and water is coming into the house or the apartment. There's a complete chaos because they're all sinful people. They don't cooperate with nature. They're so-called religious, Muslims and all. They are religious in one sense, but their religion is also for dominance over other religious people or other animals. And they quote Quran. They say man was given by God for dominating the other living entities. But dominating means protection, not killing them. They somehow don't have a proper understanding. Yes, if you have children, their parents have domination over the children, but that is for protecting them and guiding them. So similarly, other animals, which are all helpless creatures, they cannot speak or say anything. They're not meant to be killed and eaten up. And that's what the modern society is doing. All the Arab countries, all these countries. So you can see sometimes there's a big turbulence in the material nature. And they cannot figure it out why it has happened like that. So these are bound to come. When we don't follow the rules of the laws of God, laws of nature, we are not in harmony with the laws of nature. And on top of that, we don't perform any yajna or even sankirtan yajna. Even the devotees, they have to also struggle a little bit. They have to perform sankirtan yajna every day, morning and evening. Sankirtan must be performed at home. Grow tulsi at home and cook and offer to Krishna before you take. It's some tulsi leaf on the offering so that Krishna is pleased by that. And then special days like today, Ekadasi, observe a fast, read Bhagvatam, this and that, extra bhajans, extra rounds to chant. And this way, we can remain spiritually advanced. We have to take some trouble, some austerity will be performed, must be performed by human life. There's so many fasting days and this and that, so that we can perform devotion service very strongly without much diversion of the mind. And therefore, that much austerity, the human form of life is meant for, so that we can develop our attachment to Krishna. Otherwise, if there is no austerity, no development, how can you expect to grow? Like when Prabhupada came, none of the devotees knew about Ekadasi, this and that. First, he gave them prasadam. At least they became vegetarians, so-called vegetarians. And prasadam, then kirtan, then every day Bhagavad Gita class, Bhagavatam class. And they went on Nagar Kirtan, distributed prasadam, always offering the food. This was introduced by Prabhupada right in the beginning. And even now, that is the same thing has to be followed in every house. Our goal is to not only go to every town and village, but in every door, this culture has to be done. I also saw one video recently of one farm community in Gujarat, Nandagaon or something like that. No electricity in that farm community. They have no computers, no mobile, nothing. They are living very nice. It's a beautiful video. And all the devotees are living. They will come together for Aarti. And the altar is only lit by oil lamps. And they're having kirtan, no microphones, no this, that. They're able to sing loudly. After all, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was doing Sankirtan, there were no microphones. But they are powerful voices. They could sing. And 500, 600,000 devotees would hear them when they are singing. How would they do that? The natural capability of the body, the latent energy will come out. But if you have microphone, this, that, 100 things, all these modern gadgets, they cannot even sing for a long time. What to speak of singing 24 hours a day? Not possible. Because our inherent energies are gone down. Therefore, this village, which some devotees have formed up, everything is very clean and tidy. Morning is like, they are walking, doing japa, doing service. They grow their own food, vegetables, grains, everything they grow. And every day morning, the Matajis, they get up and grind with stone grinders, fresh flour for making chapatis and this and that. So they are already doing something. And this was being done by all the population in this planet. It's not something new. Prabhupada has not taught us anything new. That which is already going on, we have to slowly come back to this type of standard. And they were grinding all the masalas, everything on the stone itself. No grinders, no nothing. I was quite impressed by that video. And all of them, mind you, the people who are the householders, they were all householders. And most of them, they are IIT graduates, masters in IIT, and some of them are IIM, Indian Institute of Management, so highly qualified materially, but they have made a choice to move with their family to this community, which has no electricity, nothing. Just imagine, this is called conscious decision one has to take. And when one takes, one can only stay in a city is mainly for preaching purpose. Then you can use the facilities which the, this Ugra Karmic Society has developed. Use that. Go in a car, go to a school program, college program, like that. But even our Ratha Yatra, which we are performing all over the world, they are not made with machines. It is all wooden wheels and this and that, even in America. We are doing that. Prabhupada wanted like that. Traditional. You don't require a factory to make Ratha Yatra. So all these things are important. And by doing this, the devotees will get upper hand because Krishna is their strength. But if we don't do it, the demons will get the upper hand. And they will make our lives horrible. We don't even know what to do sometimes. So if there are any questions or comments on these verses, please ask. Haribol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Madan Pranam to you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. I recently saw Prabhuji one video when I think in Germany, that also there is a farm community like this, not even India, but here this side also. Okay. Did you know about that?
German communities, I know quite well, Germany, the farm community also. But they have electricity because in Germany, you cannot practically live like that. Because you cannot run around in bullock carts or horse cart. In America, you can do the Amish people, they do that in Pennsylvania. But in Germany, it's difficult. But there are farm communities in India. In India, it's possible to live like that because we were living like that. You have to send me the that link to me on my WhatsApp. Then I'll look into it and I'll tell you.
Yes. I mean, so nicely they're following, it doesn't matter which part of the world, but Srila Prabhupada is being followed by the devotees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must be Hungary. What you're saying is not Germany, but Hungary. They have a whole farm community with the cows and this and that. But still they use little modern equipments or few things which is produced by the system. But they are still doing many things with simple things in a simple way. Because devotees want to somehow not be dependent on the ups and downs of the modern society. We want to have a stable life. Stable life means doing everything with yourself. Make your own butter, make your own yogurt, churn the yogurt, make butter. From butter you make ghee. And in New Vrindavan in those days, when Prabhupada was there, they were making their own tea and everything. So therefore, there are people who are doing that. Some devotees are taken that their heart's instruction, but they're not able to cope it up because material world is also making so much trouble. And sometimes in our own communities there will be problems, and the demons take advantage of these problems, try to ban them. Because we are also in the baby stage, and there is a lot of problems sometimes comes to execute Prabhupada's instructions in a peaceful way. So we'll do that. Any other questions, comments?
Prabhuji,
Bharata
also,
Prabhu.
if you can
Yeah,
share
but,
something on Ram Navami, we still want to hear about Lord Ram.
well, actually, I will have to go to my WhatsApp message. Let me see if I can go to WhatsApp. I have one beautiful, 1 second, just hold on. Radharam. Okay, some nice pastimes of Lord Ramchandra. Let me see.
Also, Prabhuji, there is one line in the purport on text 9. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Text 9,
It's saying,
yes.
yeah, there's a line. I was just somehow reading the purport. Nevertheless, sometimes the demons very much appreciate the full dependence of the demigods upon the mercy of the Lord. So, I mean, this is hard to understand that how come demons have something to appreciate about, the demigods or Krishna or Vishnu.
See, the
And
point is that
it's further written, this is indirect glorification of the demigods by the demons. So why they do
yes.
that?
Well, they're tricked. As usual, Krishna always tricks the demons. The demons can see that the demigods only are powerful because they're depending on Krishna. And Krishna is always coming down into the material world as incarnations to protect the interest of the demigods. Therefore, they're always successful. The demigods are always successful. Sometimes they lose their battle or whatever it is, but they're generally successful. So let me see now, purebhakti.com. We will get some thing about Ram Navami. We'll read that. Okay. Okay. Ram Navami in Mathura. So that's okay. Narayan Maharaj is giving this class, wonderful class. Ram Katha is endless. Shankarshan, Anantadev himself continuously sings the glories of Sri Ram. But even with unlimited mouths, he is unable to touch the end in any way. We can just relish and pray that these infinite pastimes may appear in our heart. Tulsi Das has written Ramcharitamanas, which is based on Sri Valmiki's Ramayana. All the pastimes written by Tulsi Das comes from the Ramayana and other Puranas. But the principle of bhakti that he gave there have been taken from Srimad Bhagvatam. He presented important selected verses, especially from the 11th canto, and translated them into Hindi poetry. Some people consider Tulsi Das to be a Mayavadi, but this is not correct. If you study Ramcharitamanas carefully, we can see that Tulsi Das has written down the same principles that are in Srimad Bhagavatam. God is personal, the living entities are part and parcel, and our eternal constitutional position is to serve him with love and affection. Another important point is that Tulsi Das could not have written Ramcharitamanas unless he saw all these pastimes of Ram. Just as Valmiki received the mercy of Narada Muni, similarly Tulsi Das sat down in trance. All the pastimes came into his heart. He was certainly received the mercy of Vyasadeva. Only by Vyasadev's mercy could he have written this pastime. The main topic of this class is Anya Vilashita Shunyam, freedom from desires other than the desires to please Krishna. Bharat and Shatrughna had gone to their maternal uncle's place, and upon returning to Ayodhya, they noticed that all was silent. Usually the city was cheerful and so many activities were joyfully taking place. But now it was like a lady whose husband is dead and who wears no decorations and ornaments. Seeing these and other inauspicious omens, Bharata and Shatrughna became fearful. When he entered the royal palace and went to Kaikeyi's chamber, they were stunned to hear how Ram had gone to the forest for 14 years, and because of that, their father had died broken-hearted. When Bharat heard this news and the reason of it, he became completely inimical towards his mother. From his heart, he disconnected his relationship with her, and because of his pain and shock, he spoke harshly and abandoned her. Bharat later assembled the citizens of Ayodhya, including Kaushalya and Vashishta Rishi, and went to the forest to try to bring Lord Ram back. Because he was now the eldest member of the family, he was responsible for making decisions as to what to do. Maharaj Janaka would be holding a sabha, an assembly meeting, on the next day. To prepare for this, Bharat first went to Mother Kaushalya and requested her, "Oh Mother, Ram loves you and always obeys your orders. You miss him so much and we all want him back. Please ask him to return and happily rule here in Ayodhya." When Kaushalya heard these words, she said gravely, "Yes, you are right. I also want this, but I cannot do what you ask. Your suggestion is not against Dharma, but now you should look at Ram's position. According to religious principles, he is also trying to execute the order of your father. From your respective positions, you are both trying to act righteously. I am sorry, but I know he will never change his decision, so I cannot do anything." Disappointed Bharat Maharaj. Now, Bharat went to his Gurudev, Vashishta Muni, and made the same request. He said, "If you order Ram, he will come back and you will be the cause of everyone's happiness." Vashishta Muni's answer was similar to that of Kaushalya, but he represented an alternative. He said, "Instead of Ram, if you yourself agree to go to the forest, perhaps I can make him return to Ayodhya. Someone must go and you can do that." Bharat very enthusiastically agreed. But when Vashishta presented the proposal to Ram, he could not change his decision. Again, Bharata was disappointed. Bharata thought his only remaining shelter was Sunaina Devi, the wife of Maharaj Janaka. He visited her on the evening before the Sabha and very politely pleaded at her request, at her feet. "Mother, are you not worrying about your daughter? She is so gentle and tender. She is going to the forest for 14 years, where she must perform severe austerities. I know your heart is so soft and you cannot bear this pain. You must be doing something to help them." Sunaina replied, "What you are saying is what I also want. But my husband is very strict and he will never change his mind nor hear my words. He will consider both sides as per the principles of religion, and then he will give his decision. He is liberated soul and nobody can influence him." Because Janaka Maharaj was a Jnani Bhakti, a devotee with some Aishwarya, he knew well that there would never be a problem for Rama. Anywhere he would be. Bharat was again disappointed, but there was nothing he could do. The next morning, Guru Vashishta convened the assembly. On one side, Lord Ram was sitting with Sita Devi. On the other side, Bharata was sitting with all the citizens of Ayodhya, and Maharaj Janaka was on the asana in the middle to hear the case and give the decision. The evening before, all had agreed to abide by the order of Maharaj Janaka because he knew religion and was impartial. He first inquired from Bharata, What is your proposal? Please speak. With folded hands, Bharata said, all I want is that Lord Ram shall come back to the kingdom. His father had given his order, but under unfortunate circumstances. Maharani Kaikeyi was also became influenced, and she participated in this decision. This should not be considered as the ultimate decision, because now we can see that there is no real purpose for them to go to the forest. I'm not going to accept the position of a king. By all evidence, it belongs to Ram. This is what all the citizens want, and I also want it. It will be a great injustice if we send him to the forest and don't give him the position. Janaka Maharaj was silent. He then turned to Lord Ram and asked him to speak. Rama then said, yes, you have heard what Bharata said. My father agreed with the order to send me to the forest and to give the position of king to Bharata. Mother Kaikeyi jointly participated, and my father kept silent. Maunam samiti lakshanam. Silence is the symptom of agreement or consent. Now Kaikeyi wants to retract her statement, but that cannot be accepted. Why? Because my father is here no more. If he would be here and just remain silent, then I would agree. But that is not the situation. That is what I have to say. Maharaj Janaka closed his eyes and went into a silent meditation upon his Gurudev, Lord Shankara. After coming out of his meditation, he very gravely began to speak. Yes, what Bharata has said is true, and according to religious principles. He is speaking with pure feelings of love. His prema for Ram is very deep, like an ocean, and Ram's Maryada is adherence to dharma and strictness in following the principles of religion. It's like a mountain. Bharat, ocean of love, is so deep that the mountain will sink into that ocean. Bharat has won, and whatever is his decision shall be done. When everyone heard that Lord Rama would now come back, they all began jumping in ecstasy, and Bharat was also happy. However, Janaka Maharaj had something else to say. He could see that he was still very grave. All could see that he was still very grave, and they waited to see what would come from his mouth. He then said, though the ocean of Bharat's love is so deep that Ram's mountain of Maryada has sunk into it, at the same time, this mountain is so strong that it will not deviate even an inch. Even if it is drowned in water, it will stay in that position. Rama may be overcome by the love of Bharata, but he will not move. Then he looked to everyone and said, now Bharat should consider this point. It is true that his love has won, and there is no comparison to his love, but he should know the principle of love. The current of love does not consider any obstacles on the way. It crosses all the general rules and regulations, and there is no principle of religion which controls it. It has its own laws and traditions. The heart and the theme of love is that one who loves will always be very careful over the desires of his lover. He will not impose his desires upon his lover, but will instead minutely observe that his worshipable deity, his worshipable deity wants. That is what must be seen and understood. So my question to Bharat is this: did you try to understand what Rama wants, or did you become overwhelmed with your own desires? Did you think if I am unsuccessful in bringing Rama back, then all the citizens will criticize me? Perhaps for my own reputation, I may be doing this. To be only thinking of what is pleasing to Ram is the principle of real love. Then everyone heard this, especially Bharat. It was as if the earth had slipped from under his feet. For some moments, Bharat's breathing stopped, and it was as though he was deaf and dumb. Maharaj Janaka continued, now you must decide what to do. Your case is strong and you have won. You must tell Ram what you want him to do. Bharat had now gotten the biggest shock of his life. His whole nervous system had broken due to this lesson about love, and his heart and thinking were completely changed. Then when he approached Ram, who understood the mood and the gravity of his feelings, Ram said, "Yes, you have won. You want me to rule the kingdom. So I accept your request. I will now act as the king of Ayodhya. Since I am the king, you must now follow my direction. What should you do? You should let me go to the forest and fulfill the orders of our father on my behalf. While I am in the forest, you should become my representative and do the needful duties for the kingdom." So if you make him, Bharat made Ram the king, therefore he should obey to the Ram. So now Ram told you, go back and take care of Ayodhya. So Bharat accepted this, and we cannot understand what kind of happiness he was feeling. So many opposite sentiments were coming in his heart and jumping. But he accepted Ram's order because now he understood the meaning of love. Even if one has to drink poison to please his lover, he should do this. This is the evidence of pure love. Similarly, when Kaikeyi was requested by Ram as a child to later banish him and give the kingdom to Bharat, her heart had broken and she cried out, "No, Ram, I cannot do that." Why not? She loves Ram more than Bharat. How could she do that? But Ram compelled her. He forced her, saying, "If you must drink the poison, mother, because it is for the welfare of the whole world. This is my purpose of coming here, so you must do this." Bharat thus took Ram's crown, his wooden sandals, and his Rajai. Rajai is a Hindi word. Most people, those who are not dedicated to the personal form of the Lord, think Rajai means only quilt. They say, just see how Bharat is so cruel. Ram had gone to the forest and Bharat even took the sandals and his quilt. But here Rajai does not mean quilt. It comes from the word Raji, meaning to agree. Bharat took the orders of Lord Ram to act as his representative and manage the kingdom in his absence. Here is an important lesson for all who are practicing bhakti. We hear the shlokas beginning with Anya Vilashita Shunyam, and we can very critically look into our hearts and consider, what am I doing? Am I trying to serve Krishna in the way my mind likes to serve him? It is a subtle difference because the mind is very tricky. If we fail to distinguish between these feelings, then Anya Vilasha, material desires will cover over our bhakti, and there will be no way we can advance. Today, about 99% of the devotees are like this. Some do it willfully, and some fail to distinguish the difference. If Gurudev asks them to do something which is not pleasing to hear their own mind, they get angry or annoyed with him. That is prevailing in the majority cases. We have to very carefully observe this and try to kick out this Anya Vilash. Bhakti is not so cheap. We are trying to attain that love which controls both Srimati Radharani and Krishna. But we must understand at what price we have to pay for this. We have to give up everything we consider to belong to us. We do not have any separate existence of our own. The feelings of unconditional and unalloyed surrender is so deep that we become one with the mood of Srila Gurudev. Then within our hearts, all aspirations are no longer our aspiration. They are Gurudev's aspiration, or those of Hari, Guru and Vaishnava. This is the state we want to achieve, and unless we attain it, there is no way to advance in bhakti. Whatever position we want to achieve in eternal Braj, we have to start practicing with Gurudev. We have to apply this verse, Anya Vilashata Shunyam. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I've happily mixed all my desires in your service. My desires follow your desires. There is no difference. They do not even go even to a small degree in a different direction. They are completely in the line with your desires. Maharaj Bharat then returned to Ayodhya with all his, and he brought the sandals of Lord Ram. There was so much grief on his return that he did not enter the kingdom. He acted like a representative and stayed in a village near the city called Nandigram. There he made a small hut like Rama's hut in the forest and took the dress of a nuncio like Rama. He did not cut his hair. He lived only on fruits and whatever was available. Sandals. Some call came and he placed those wooden sandals on an altar and began worshipping them, just as if he was worshipping Ram. He performed arati, offered food, and made all the decisions based on the consultation with those wooden sandals. All his ministers also came there to discuss the ruling of the kingdom. Once Mother Kaikeyi approached him, now she suffered still more because she was feeling the separation of two sons. If Bharata was there with her, there would be some consolation, but she had lost two sons. No one can understand her feelings of misfortune. She arrived in a palanquin and called the guards who were there. Because Bharat rarely came out, he was always absorbed in separation from Ram. When he was informed that Mother Kaikeyi had come, he said, "All right, please call Queen Kaikeyi inside." He never called her mother. He only considered her as Rajmata, not as his mother. When she came before him, she began crying in great pain and sorrow. Please forgive me. I've really committed such a big mistake. My intelligence was covered with ignorance. I failed to use my intelligence. Please come back to Ayodhya and stay here with Bharat Maharaj. Bharat said, Queen Kaikeyi, this is what you deserve. You should taste this more and more. This is the price you must pay. She said, Bharat, you don't know my. I have to stay in this palace, and this palace is biting me like scorpion. It is so painful. I cannot tolerate anymore. Bharat was so strong and dedicated to Dharma that he would not agree. Then he said, at least please address me as mother. That will give me some solace. Bharat replied, I cannot utter that word for you anymore. It is not possible. Jinke Priya the Ram Videhi. This verse from Ramcharitamanas is a translation from the verse in the Bhagvatam, which means that one should abandon that wife which is not favorable to bhakti. One should abandon that husband who is acting as an obstruction on the path of devotion. One should abandon that father, that son, that brother, and so on. Any relationship that obstructs bhakti should be given up. Vibhishana gave up his brother Ravana because he had no love for Rama. Prahlad gave up his father Hiranyakashipu. Bali Maharaj gave up his guru. Mirabai wrote a letter to Tulsidas under her circumstances regarding her performance of devotional service for Krishna. Her family and especially her husband, the Rana of Mewar, were unfavorable, and he would always suspect that she had some illicit connection with a man, but she was absorbed in the love of Giridhari. She wrote, I cannot tolerate it anymore. They are torturing me. They have given me poison. They have tried to have me bitten by a snake. They insulted me. Please guide me. Tulsidas wrote this verse to her, and though he did not instruct her specifically, she understood the message. One day she was deeply absorbed dancing and singing in kirtan behind the closed doors with Giridhari there. The king heard her singing in great jubilation, and he also heard someone playing a flute with great anger, his sword in the hand. He tried to enter the room, but he could not hear him. But she could not hear him. Krishna was playing the flute, so how was it possible to have any external consciousness? When the king entered, he saw that no one else was there with her, and Mirabai had fainted. He looked everywhere for the man who was playing the flute. Some or other he revived Mirabai and asked her with harsh words, what is that man you have hidden here? Mirabai said, you cannot see him. is standing right here. I cannot see him, he said. Then Mirabai mercifully placed her hand on his eyes, and by the touch of her finger, the Rana was able to see the threefold bending form of Krishna playing the flute. Now taking darshan, he was humbled, and he also fainted in the meantime. Krishna disappeared, and when the Rana returned to consciousness, he also very much repented, lamenting. He fell at the feet of Mirabai and again begged for forgiveness. He said, I was so offensive and foolish. Because she had suffered so much, she made no reaction to his words. She had made up her mind that she must go to Vrindavan. She explained that what had happened, and nothing could stop her. Chanting Giridhari Gopal, she left for Vrindavan. There she met Jiva Goswami, and he took Gopal mantra from him. Was she a real disciple of Jiva Goswami? No. She was a half disciple because she ended up in Dwaraka. She said, I only see Krishna, I don't see anyone else. Her vision was not so broad that she could see the gopis. She failed to accept the guidance of the gopis, and for that reason, she could not get any position in Braj. She went to Dwaraka, and there she entered into the deity of Dwarkadish and never came out. This is a very important point for those who want to want the service of the divine couple in Braj, but who think they can achieve it by following all the principles of Vaidhi Bhakti. They are meditating on Dwarka Leela, and yet they want the service of Radha Krishna in Braj. Because they have such meditation, they will not get a position in Braj. If a husband is somewhat following Bhakti, he will be very happy if someone else's wife takes to spiritual life and becoming completely surrendered, gives up her home. However, if it comes to his wife, he cannot tolerate it. And it is the same with the wife. If someone else's husband becomes so absorbed that he gives up family life, she says, oh, this is good. You are so fortunate. You have become a pure devotee and your whole family will be delivered. But when it comes to her own husband, it cannot be tolerated. And it is the same with the son and the father. This consideration is very bad and should not be done. No one is going to stay here in this body. We should try to use our power of discrimination to understand the purpose of life. So this is the whole thing about Ram's pastimes. Of course, there are many articles like this. To completely give Ramchandra's pastimes, it's not so easy. So it was actually according to Ramchandra's desire that Kaikeyi had to agree to send Ram to go to the forest. It was Ram's desire. And she had to do that because of her love for Ram, even though she's going to suffer so much pain of separation. Because he had a higher purpose. Why did he come? Paritrana sadhuna vinashaya. He had to kill Ravana, who abducted his wife. But Ravana himself was a great devotee of Krishna in the Vaikuntha planets, Jai and Vijay. So he is also playing a role. Ramchandra is also playing a role. The whole thing is that Ravana took the choice to become a demon instead of becoming a devotee, because he could please the Lord by fighting, by giving viraras. So it's not so easy for pure devotees to make decisions sometimes. So we can see this from the life of Jai and Vijay. And what devotees, they had the choice to become 7 birds as devotees and 3 birds as demons. And they took the decision to become demons. Because, why? Because Ram had a desire. Narayan had a desire to fight. Therefore, to fulfill that desire, they became demons, because only as demons they can really fight Krishna. So one devotee of Krishna only selects his pure devotees to reciprocate with him, to perform pastimes. He will not select ordinary people. Because we are also always talking about Janmani, Janmani, Swari, Bhavatat, Bhakti, Rahoti, Kito. We are also praying, life after life, let me serve you, Krishna. But Jay and Vijay, they had to do just the opposite. So these are all not so easy to understand for the neophytes. But when the Bhajan Adhikar is going up, when the Shradha descends, then one can understand how great devotees go through great troubles to please their Lord. And then that troubles itself, which they are undergoing, itself becomes a pleasure for them from within their heart. You see, Brahmar Gita is there, Gopi Gita, there are so many things in the Bhagavatam which gives the special position of these great devotees. Mother Yashoda and Nanda Baba also. So I hope I have satisfied some of your little desire, nice desire to hear about Ram. Bharat, this is one passage. I took it. There are many passages like this, but I cannot do that in one class like this. We'll have to see some other time. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for reading. It was wonderful. We are still in the mood of like Ram Navami going on, you know. Yeah, in fact, what happens, Ram Navami came here on 16. It was in India on 17. So I felt that, you know, there's no post coming about Lord Ram we can read and things like that. Then finally, when it came in India, then the whole burst of everything came. And because, you know, there, the Bhumi itself is so auspicious, you know, that devotees. So it's very fortunate for us that, you know, we celebrate like couple of days. And thank you so much for reading.
Yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna. Any other question? Partha?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranam, all grace to Prabhupada. It was such a nice class, especially Lord Ram's pastimes and how and the Bharat's character is so exalted. Actually, there are comments that Bharat is the real hero of Ramayana in terms of dharma. He is the real hero. And Mirabai's pastimes I didn't know earlier. It was so nice to have heard it from you. And also the distinction between Radha Bhav and the Gopi Bhav and the Dharaka Bhav, and that is the distinction will become a little clear.
Yes,
it's very, very nice to. So unless these these philosophies are clear, because we are always buffeted by the wind of material nature, and in the Kali Yuga especially. Because if the philosophies are not clear, then we get carried away, and so it's very nice to have made them stronger. Yes, because Ram Katha is nice, but only when you understand their meaning in terms of the bhakti. And then only because a lot of the Ram Bhaktas are in the mode of passion, so they want to do something, but you know that that belt. Lot of Ram Bhaktas are there, but yeah, their bhakti is to Lord Ram, and they want to do, but many of them do not understand how the bhakti has to be translated, and that is example is through Lakshmanji, Bharat, Hanumanji, Sita Devi, and Satrughna. So, so the focus is on Ram and be like Ram, but they ignore the bhakti of the other parshads. So that is the reflection on them is very important for our sadhana.
See, that is why one requires a guru.
Yes.
You have to hear about Ram from a pure devotee of Ram, or pure devotee of Krishna. Then only you can understand all this. Without a guru, you cannot understand all these minute details and the subtle differences and all these things. For spiritual life, like anything, even in the material world, if you want to be an engineer and you want to advance in the field of engineering, you need to take guidance from experienced engineers. So if that is the case with material world, how much more it is applicable in the spiritual life, which is even more subtle. and beyond the modes of nature.
Yeah. Thank
Any
you,
other
Prabhu.
questions, comments? Otherwise, we'll do a short bhajan.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this nectarine class, and Rupini Padma Mataji, thank you for requesting about Ram Navami so that we could hear more nectar. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai. Bolo.
Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya.
Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai.
Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya.
Jai Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai.
Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya.
Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai.
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya.
Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai.
Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Now we'll sing a little bhajan on Ram. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Pahi Mam. Bolo.
Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Pahi Mam.
Ram Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Pahi Mam.
Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Trahi Mam.
Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshama.
Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshama.
Jai Jai Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshama.
Jai Jai Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshama.
Jai Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Pahi Mam.
Jai Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshama.
Jai Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahi Mam.
Jaya Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Paimam.
Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Rakshamam.
Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Rakshamam.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva.
Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva.
Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur.
Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaura, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaura Hari.
Jaya Jaya Sachinandana Gaur Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaur Hari.
Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari.
Jaya Radha Raman, Jaya Radha Raman, Radha Raman, Jaya Radhe.
Jaya Radha Raman, Jaya Radhe Radhe, Radha Raman, Jaya Radhe Radhe.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
Hari Bol.
की जय, श्री गुरुदेव की जय, गौर निताय राधा रमन गिरिराज गिरि गोवर्धन की
Jai.
जय, सीताराम लक्ष्मण भक्त हनुमान की जय हो,
Jai.
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय हो।
Jai.
All glorious devotees Hare Krishna,
Krishna.
all glorious devotees Hare Krishna, all
Hare Krishna.
glorious devotees Hare Krishna। ग्रंथराज
Hare
श्रीमद्
Krishna.
भागवतम की जय,
Bhagavatam ki jai.
सुखदेव गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय,
Jai.
श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल पर्पोर्ट्स की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे।
Hari 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 Bol. His Grace Ram Shraddha Prabhuji ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And
जय
happy
हो।
Ekadashi. Today is a Ekadashi, right, Prabhuji?
Yeah, we are doing Ekadasi today.
Yes, Hari
You know, it
Bol.
is so hot here. It's so hot and sweaty here. You know, everything like we're exhausted because of the heat.
Yeah, yeah, no.
You're having cold there. The winter is there. It's still cold.
Little bit, yeah, little, very little, yeah. But
They
good,
put-
we
so
can
you
go
have to-
outside and walk, yeah.
You can send some cold weather here.
Okay.
But Prabhuji, it is hot in Florida, very hot. Where I
Yeah,
am. Yeah, very hot here.
Florida is like India. You know.
Yes, yes. I don't find the difference. Yeah.
Okay, then. I hope
Yes.
everything is going good and wonderful.
Hmm.
And see you all next time. Hare Krishna. All
Hare
glories to
Krishna.
Shri
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam, Prabhu.
Happy
Hare Krishna.
Ekadasi to all.
Panchakalpataruvyascha कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च
Radhe Radhe.
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो
Thank you,
नमः।
Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा। थैंक यू प्रभुजी।
Thank you.
धन्यवाद।
Hare.
राधे राधे।